evening, all of you CAT aspirants. I'm here once again to deal with a very important topic at hand. We're all almost 6 months into the preparation, with another 5 to 6 months to go. Everybody comes to this one stop wherein you begin to get a little baffled or maybe a little overwhelmed. Baffled because you don't know where all to be starting from, overwhelmed because you have too much and that you're not really able to get your act together as to how should you be going about. So here I come to be able to help you navigate through all of these turbulences, which are very normal, which do happen to occur in the minds of all aspirants who are preparing for a competitive examination. Now always remember, if you've come to a crossroad and you do not know where must your preparation now lead, the best way to be able to get direction is by looking at the PYPs. In fact, depending on which examination you're preparing for and doing a proper recce as to the types of questions that are most popularly asked, what you can do is you can understand their pattern. All of these competitive exams, they're very conventional in the way they set the paper. They do throw a couple of curveballs. There will be new stuff that will come along, but most of the time it's going to be a repetition of what they have always been asking. So when you are in the preparation and you don't know where to go from there, the best way is to start jotting down, start decoding the pattern so that you're able to anticipate what might just be in the paper that's upcoming and that you are thoroughly prepared for it. Today, I will try and make an attempt to be able to decode the past papers pattern and be able to know what are those topics which have the most frequently been asked in the CAT. Be with me until the end of the video because trust me, all of this is going to come in handy. And without any further ado, let us begin with the types of questions. So now first things first, let's just address. If you've ever wondered, how do toppers always know what to expect? So why is it that the toppers always know what to expect and where to expect? The secret is they don't guess, they investigate. There is a very thorough deep dive into the past year papers to be able to know what is likely to be asked and then they work around the likelihood. So understanding trends is just not smart work. It is actually essential, especially in today's time where prediction can come in handy. Of course, it's a prerequisite. So whether it be CAT or be that or any of the board exams, the trends don't lie. So if you do know a pattern in which it is being asked, use it to the best of your ability. And today, that is what we're going to do. We're going to go full Sherlock into the questions, see what are the types of questions that are asked, and then anticipate and reroute our preparation alongside the questions that we are now predicting. Let's see. First things first as to why trend spotting is actually a game changer. So the first is exams like CAT are not random acts of chaos. So they do not like anything which is unconventional. They like being conventional. They are a little orthodox in their consortium and they'd like to keep asking the things that they always tend to. So they always follow pattern. These patterns will always equate to predictability, will ultimately lead to a perfect, foolproof, bulletproof strategy for you. Think of it as doing a recce, a proper reconnaissance before going into the battle. So what you're doing, you're surveying your field. You know where you're getting into, you know what the enemy has. And that is how you're going to arm yourself up. And because you wouldn't enter a jungle without checking where the lion's den is, isn't it? So if you're preparing for VA, don't just practice hard. Please make sure that you are going to practice hard because it is always the hard work that is the sign of intelligence. So, of course, start by asking what kind of questions show up again and again, and you will be halfway there in terms of where your preparation is supposed to be. Now, let's see what are the most frequently asked VA questions in the CAT examination, beginning with, of course, it is the RCs. The RCs are what we call the bread and butter of the VARC. About 70%, so 50 to 70% of the entire of the English section is made up of reading comprehension. It is that essential. There are going to be about 4 to 5 passages, 3 to 5 questions each. The number of passages might vary and so the number of questions. Mainly the kind of questions that they're going to ask around will be main ideas, inference, tone, specific details, strengthen or weaken. What is the trend predictability? Every single year, no exception. So please be prepared that there will at least be 4 reading comprehensions that are definitely going to be asked in the CAT paper. A pro tip, please expect passages from philosophy, economy, psychology, or science. Dense but logical. So all of these, of course, can be the type of passages that you might expect. Beginning with the next, parajumbles without the options. They are called theta, which means type in the answer. You have to manually type in the answer to know what it is. Now, what are they? They are called the infamous jumble gymnastics. So here you don't have the options. You will have to put your mind to be able to know what it's talking about. No options. It is pure logic and pure intelligence. They test how the flows of ideas are supposed to be, the connectors in the chronology, and how well versed are you with being able to assemble comprehension. And the trend appeared every year since 2015. So, of course, there is no escape. There are going to be 5 questions around theta versions of parajumbles, which you must be ready with. Getting on to the next, odd one, odd sentence out, which are also called odd one out in terms of paragraphs. Now, again, 5 sentences, one of it is a misfit, one of it is not going to belong. You have to find the one that does not belong. Think of it like spotting the awkward guest at the party. So it's that one person who's not invited, and we simply have to ask or find out who is it. Now, it tests the coherence and the main idea recognition as to how well are we able to gather the ideas together. The trend of this is every year again. Next, we have the summary type questions to ourselves. Now, they're generally a short passage which is followed by 3 to 4 options. You need to compress the idea, not rewrite it. So here they're going to see how well can we condense the idea, how well can we form a gist of whatever it is that we understand or read. So watch out. They love these sneaky traps with partial truth. So they're going to be very small bits of information which are really going to be out of place, but we will have to magnify on those thoroughly. Last but not the least, para-completions. Less frequent, but of course, very relevant. Wherein what happens is one line seems to be missing and we simply have to guess what is to come next. Logic plus the tone matching is a perfect, that's a hot combination for being able to find out what the correct answer of a para-completion is likely to be. Very, very rarely used, but I think we must address this because sometimes these can be the deal breaker for us, the vocabulary or the word usage. So once in a while, they do throw a curveball like we understood, especially in the old papers. So one can expect that they might just, again, be, invited back to the paper pattern. Now, knowing how words behave in the context can give you an edge. So reading and having a good vocabulary bandwidth is always important. Now, how do you spot the trend? You need to do a do-it-yourself recce. Go through the past papers, right from 17 to 23. Maintain a question type log. So you need to know what shows up, how often, and what really changes in terms of the depiction. Use this info to prioritize your prep, which is going to be focused 70% on what's common, 20% on the curveballs, and 10% in polishing your speed and accuracy. So if you have an error log, which is going to take into account all of these things, I think you are pretty damn good taken care of. Now, how to prepare? A quick tip for all of it. Beginning with reading comprehensions, please make sure that you're reading 2 articles daily. It could be the Hindu, it could be the Aeon. Practice inference-based questions because it is just not about reading the RC, it's also about reading between the lines. We have parajumbles. You are to practice 5 daily. Please make sure that you're focusing on connectives, the pronouns, the chronology makers. Ideally, in short, it is the mandatory pairs that you need to be working around. The odd sentence out. So practice by explaining why a certain sentence does not fit. The misfit sentence is what we have. Reverse engineer your own set. So the best way is you make the parajumble. Whatever does not fit in it is likely to be our answer. Summaries, you must read the editorial and make sure that you are condensing and figuring out your own summaries. That is probably the best way to know how prepped up are you in terms of the CAT. Ultimately, if you're not serious about it, remember, trends are not statistics, they're strategies, always. And doing a recce of the battlefield before entering will always and always give you an upper hand. I hope with this I've been able to get you to what is important, what is not, and how should your preparation be. Please make sure you align yourself to all of these, and once these are taken care of, there's clearly no looking back. All the best, all of you CAT aspirants. I hope this information does come in handy. You know the drill. If you like the video, click on the like button. If you think this is something that can help other friends as well, please share it with other like-minded friends and do write in the comment box as to how it has helped. Thank you so much, and I come again next time with another video.